Welcome to another episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Our hosts, Sri Rajagopal, Peter V.S. Bond, and Brian Gildenberg explore how brands and retailers engage consumers in an increasingly digitally driven world. And now, here are the CPG Guys.
Hello and welcome to the CPG Guys podcast. I'm of course Sri, co-founder, co-host of the CPG Guys. Also co-founder and partner of Think Blue. Your key to unlocking your profitability potential is builders, connectors, and amplifiers. We shape the future of commerce to drive your growth. Please do listen to my older daughter Ria Raj's music at www.riaraj.com and my younger daughter Lara Raj as a band member of the Geffen Records Universal Music Group band Cat's Eye, while my wife Kavita Raj has her own podcast, Lights, Camera, Convo on iHeartRadio and all streaming platforms. Joining me today right here live from the Conline International Festival of Creatives, none other than my best friend and co-host, Peter V.S. Bond. And when he's not co-hosting this podcast, he serves as Partnership Acceleration Lead at Flywheel, a division of Omnicom that helps enterprise brands improve their SEO and SEM, growing their e-commerce businesses. Before we get to our guests, we want to ask you to help spread the word about this community we've created in the CPG Guys. Beyond sharing our podcast with your friends, if you're using Apple Podcasts or Spotify as your listening platform, leave us a rating as it helps feed the algorithm that makes us more findable by CPG retail people like you looking for both education and or entertainment. We're happy that the CPG Guys is part of an impressive collective of highly rated podcasts, including CPG Scoop with Risa and Jennifer and the FMCG Guys with Daniel, Efrain, and Christine. Links to our podcast, our sister cast, the social media profiles of my daughters, Ria and Laura, my wife's podcast, may be found in the digital liner notes of this episode. So let's get this live conversation going.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Show of hands here. Who's first time at Cannes? Anyone? Yeah, I am. Sri. No. Sri, you've been in this industry like 30 years. This is your first time at Cannes?
Here's something funny, right? So I've worked for some of the largest brands in the world, PepsiCo included, Johnson & Johnson, and it took 29 years and leaving CPG to actually be here. How about that? So.
Well, I'm glad you're here. You and I don't get to see each other much, you being in LA, me being on the East Coast. So it's events like this.
It's funny, Peter and I actually see each other in person on the road, rarely back at LA or Connecticut.
Yeah.
Where we both live.
Anyhow, well, welcome all. Thanks for joining us today. If you don't know who we are, hopefully you do. We are 2/3 of the CPG Guys podcast. The third is somewhere in the back of the room. There he is, back there, Brian. Hey, Brian. There's the Brian. Third. He's waving.
Wait. You ask people if they don't know us?
Well, I don't know.
For real, some of you don't know us. So here's the deal, right? We can solve that easily. You can start LinkedIn and you can like the CPG.
Yeah, you should right now. All of you download all the episodes.
As he says, legends in our own minds.
But we're very proud. There are actually over 1,000 people at Walmart who actually follow our podcast. So we know we have some fans there, so that's a good thing. But thank you for all joining us. So today we have a great topic as we're kicking off the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity 2024. Everybody here is talking about AI. But what I also know people are talking about here is something that is the hottest topic in media, and that, of course, is retail media. And what we wanted to explore today, we've got two really great guests that we're going to introduce in a second. But we want to talk about how retail media is actually helping. We know how it helps the sales side of the organization, but it's actually increasingly turning into a full funnel activation mechanism to drive brand loyalty. And that's what we're going to explore today with our two guests. Our first guest, he is the Senior Vice President of Sales for Walmart Connect, the retail media arm of Walmart. It's Ryan Mayward. Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am just dandy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, or thank you for coming. I'm not sure.
That's right. We're in your house. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And then for those of you who do know me, but you may not know that I moonlight. Yeah, I'm not just a CPG guy. I also work for Flywheel, which is the newly minted division of Omnicom. And joining me today is a fellow colleague of mine. She's the CEO of the Omnicom Commerce Group, Jacquelyn Baker. Jacquelyn, hi.
Hello. Thanks for having me. As a follower and a dedicated listener, I have often thought to myself, when am I ever going to be cool enough to actually be on CPG
you're
Guys?
Here.
And so I'm having a moment. Like, am I actually cool now? Probably not, but maybe just today.
No, that's okay. Do you know a little known? Actually, Ryan, this is going to be because we're going to turn this into a podcast episode. Ryan, this makes it your third time on the podcast. And at 5, like anyone who knows what happens when you get
a free
5
latte?
episodes of Saturday Night Live, what happens? The 5-timer jacket. We have a varsity CPG Guys jacket that we give out to 5 times.
For real. This is for real.
We really do. So you're 2 steps away, Jacquelyn. You're building your creds. So
Get the punch card ready.
There you go. I like that.
And just for the record,
yeah.
In our top 10 ever downloaded episodes, we actually have 3 folks from Walmart. The all-time highest downloaded episode to the day.
And they're in the room here.
Seth Dallaire. There's Seth back there. Ooh. That's literally our all-time highest performing episode.
Who's number 2?
The day.
Who's number 2?
To the day. Mr. Ryan Mayward.
There he is. And Shri, I think there's someone else here in the room.
Yeah, competing for number 9 and number 11 highest download episodes is actually Cara Russo back there.
Hey, Cara.
And now we have Doug Josem, who's working hard to upend Seth, but I'm like, not going to happen.
Doug's in the shower.
Doug's in the shower. Finally. It's hot here. It's hot and humid. Isn't this great?
I mean, I did tell him to buy a diptyque fragrance and solve that shower problem, but hey.
All right, so let's get to our topic at hand, shall we, Shri? Jacquelyn, I'm going to kick it off to you. What emerging problem do you see as retail media helping brands to solve? And why do you think it's more efficient and, frankly, more measurable than what they've been using for the better part of the last 50 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I love so much about the space and why I'm such a passionate advocate for the growth of retail media in general is the ability to sort of collapse the funnel in the way that, especially through the lens of CPG, the funnel doesn't really exist anymore because consumers engage with brands, they discover them, then they consider them, and then they acquire them simultaneously in a singular platform. And consumers don't go to brand.com to learn about a CPG product. If they do, I would question their sanity a little, and we would probably need to worry about them. And so we know that they're going to retail platforms to learn about brands, but they're there to solve a problem, and they're searching for whatever that right best solution is. And so being able to show up first, show up best, bring them an experience that is engaging and enticing, and will ultimately lead to that immediate conversion, which then will ultimately drive loyalty, which I know we'll get to in a minute, is the problem I think retail media is custom designed to solve, and is really the only mechanism to achieve that sort of holy grail right now.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to follow the script, I would ask Ryan a question, but you kind of dropped a bombshell word in there, right? And we've got a few brand marketers in the room here, I'm sure. And what you refer to is my pet peeve forever. Now, I grew up in a selling ecosystem all my life, and I've always believed brand.com alone can't get stuff done for you. When someone goes to brand.com, it's usually a deep research, but I do genuinely believe that, hey, they're not going to come to brand.com. They're going to find you through retail properties, end of story, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that topic needs to be discussed a whole lot more. And one of the ways you can solve for that is retail media at the end of the day to get your narrative out. So welcome to both of you. Thank you for joining the CPG Guys. Thank you for being here at Con and doing this event with us in the first place. Ryan, the next one, I'm going to toss it over to you. Walmart Connect, of course, entered retail media. By the way, happy birthday to Walmart. Those who don't know, it's Walmart Connect's happy birthday. For real, guys, for real. 5 years. And
does it get a bomber jacket?
Ooh.
Who gets it? Rich, you get the varsity jacket?
Here's what's happened.
He's claiming the jacket.
Here's what's happened now. If you follow us, you know we're swag people. And you just open up something new.
Can I tell them?
Walmart Connect swag coming soon.
Can I tell them the accounting story?
Go for it.
So we met with our accountants to do our taxes last year. And he was going on, he says, do you know what your single biggest line item of expenses are? And we said, it's got to be our travel going to conferences. He goes, not even close. It's the swag. So guys, I see something and I customize it. I send a picture to Shri and he just says, buy it. So sorry, I went off.
So Ryan, we're going back to the topic of the hour.
There we go.
Which is retail media. We're here to
make this
discuss
fun.
RMN.
This is fun.
That said, Ryan, if you go back 4 years in history, retail media obviously had a significant growth spurt when COVID hit, because brands had to hit lower funnel activation, and one of the best ways to do it was activate all kinds of efforts on a retail media platform. And by the way, Taryn Beck sitting in back over there, who's not making eye contact with me because I'm not looking at her. She taught me a lot of this stuff, by the way, how to get it done on Walmart, which was pretty amazing. So the question, Ryan, is the evolution over time obviously started with retail media on site, so owned and operated Walmart properties. But if you look at where the world is headed now, and especially the last year and change for brands, when most brands have lost a lot of traction with households, it has to be household acquisition, a lot of offsite advertising and connections with consumers. So what are you guys thinking in terms of hitting all that up, and where are you taking Walmart Connect?
Great question. I'm sorry I can't see you better. I need more lumbar support in this chair here.
I just want my glasses to make
We've got a lot cooking in the offsite department. We know that consumers spend relatively little time shopping online compared to things like watching TV and scrolling their social feed. And so we've become very committed to providing brands more opportunities to connect with customers when they're doing those things, and to provide consistent audience targeting and measurement in all of these locations across all these different touch points. It started a few years ago with the launch of the Walmart DSP, making open internet display and video available to brands using our purchase-based targeting, propensity-based targeting, closed-loop measurement, measuring things like new-to-brand, incrementality through in-store sales lift. On the back of that, with a lot of success launching the Walmart DSP, we then started partnering with all the broadcast networks. We know that there's a significant opportunity to improve audience targeting and measurement in connected TV. Yeah. And so we went about that partnering with the likes of Disney, which was a recent announcement, NBC Universal, Paramount, and the others. That's been probably the fastest growing part of our business over the last year, and an exciting one to watch develop. And it's really opened us up to a lot of nuanced conversations with brands about trade-offs between efficiency and efficacy. It's really been enlightening in terms of understanding how brands have historically measured the impact of TV and what's now possible with the availability of closed-loop measurement. And then we've applied similar principles to social media. We've been integrating with the major social platforms and allowing brands to connect with customers using, again, same audience targeting and enlightening performance through closed-loop measurement. So I think we've been doing all this through partnerships as well with media companies. We've been trying to be a great partner to all these media companies without trying to compete with them in any way, shape, or form. And brands have really responded positively, and we're excited about this part of the business.
I think that's very important, Ryan, because Sri and I were talking about the other day. We've cut the cable. We're part of this unreachables community that traditional linear television can't reach. And so understanding and making those partnerships to make it available for brands to connect with consumers like me who don't do that, that's critically important for brands to be able to, as we discussed here, create this full funnel true mechanism to connect with consumers and build that brand loyalty. So, Jacquelyn, my question is to you, and this comes to me all the time, obviously, since last October when it was announced that Omnicom was acquiring Flywheel. Omnicom has a very rich history in delivering great commerce strategies and outcomes for brands. I don't have to tell you that. That's your job as head of the Omnicom Commerce Group. So I guess my question is, from your perspective, how is the Flywheel acquisition helping Omnicom and even Omnicom Commerce Group deliver integrated full funnel capabilities working with marketplaces like Walmart?
I mean, it's been a tremendous addition to the Omnicom family, and then specifically to our commerce capability. I think I kind of won the universe's lottery being where I was at the time of this happening. It was kind of all the perfect marriage of these capabilities coming together to actually deliver true total commerce. And I think you hear a lot of people talk about connected commerce or total commerce, but there's a lot of ambiguity around really what does that mean. And for us, is being able to deliver impactful experiences that drive growth for brands, driving to retail, in retail, at retail, and on retail. And now to be able to do that in partnership with Flywheel and their incredible depth and scale bench and the unparalleled data sets and the digital capability that then augments the creative and the experiential experiences that we can create across retail ecosystems for brands is, I think, unparalleled in the industry, and it's an exciting place to be.
Yeah,
Jacquelyn, I have a follow up on those experiences, which is we're literally sitting here at the place to be for creativity. I mean, it's literally called the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity, right? How do you think creativity and those experiences go hand in hand?
I think they're inextricably linked. I think, and sometimes in the commerce space, that can get lost in the conversation, much to my disappointment. But I think my head of experience actually tells me this all the time, that there's a consumer saying, I wish that I could just go online and buy something without learning anything, experiencing anything, and having any kind of experience at all. Said no one ever.
That sounds like a John Cusack movie. I don't want to buy anything.
I just want to buy something without being entertained. I don't want to be engaged. I don't want to learn anything. Said no one ever, really. And that's the truth. Sales and marketing, they're inextricably linked. Yeah. And in order to deliver sales, it can't be done just algorithmically. You have to provide a service and an experience that gets a consumer's attention, that makes them want to learn more. And even if they do that in a matter of seconds, that's the decision tree, right? And so the importance of creativity in this space only exponentially grows.
And Ryan, I'd ask you that same question, right? How does Walmart Connect partner with brands to ensure that the final experience that's delivered to the customer, the shopper, is indeed backed up by solid creative?
Yeah, well, just to reflect a little bit on what Jacquelyn was saying there, I've worked with agencies throughout my entire career, the better part of the last 20 years, and I've also watched Flywheel grow up from being 2 employees to being acquired twice, and I think the problem statement from brands over the last dozen years or so has been, how do I bring my brand advertising, all of the media planning and buying and analytics that supports brand advertising, together with all of the money that I'm now spending in retail media and all of the media planning and buying and analytics that happens there? And I think that's also been the opportunity statement for agencies for the last decade. And I think most of that opportunity still sits out there in the future. And I'm very excited to see what Omnicom and Flywheel do together, because bringing these 2 assets in under one roof is really, those are the collection of capabilities that you need to unlock the value that's sort of been floating out there. So I'm really excited to see what happens next. In terms of better serving advertisers, we know that brands need help navigating a really complicated landscape, media landscape, very fragmented media landscape. Retail media networks are popping up all over the place. And in order to navigate the complexity and make sure that they show up well on all those media platforms, they need help. They need agencies to support them. And we know that when we support those agencies, that advertisers have better outcomes. And when those advertisers have better outcomes, they end up selling more stuff on Walmart, and everybody wins. So we're investing a lot in supporting the agency channel. We know that agencies primarily want to access our products through a robust set of APIs. We make those available, started with search, moved on to display and measurement and creative, and more coming. We know that agencies have large staffs, very hard to educate at scale. We've launched a self-service online learning portal where you can get schooled up on all of our ad products. So it's been rapidly adopted by our agency partners. And we've just staffed a big team to provide support, provide that ongoing education. And it's paying off, and it's something that we'll keep doing indefinitely. On the creative piece, I think that that's an area for us to improve in. I think that we have been launching a lot of new media capability over the last several years. We haven't necessarily come back and said, here are all of the creative best practices. I think that we are good at bringing brands into the Walmart promotional calendar and doing big splashy events all year long, which require a lot of creative investment on our part. I think we do that well. But in terms of saying, here's the right audience to reach on this social platform with this message, given the audience targeting that you've chosen, we could get better there. And I think agencies will have a vital role to play in delivering those best practices and activating on them.
I offer myself and my team up to partner with you at any time if you'd like to co-create that.
And so, Ryan, you had the forfeiters moment in life to see Flywheel acquired twice. Are the CPG guys going to get acquired twice? I'm just kidding.
Would that be a hostile takeover? No.
Don't know.
Cut the swag budget and we'll talk.
Driving efficiencies.
Claudia, looks like I got to go back to CPG Guys gear. All right, next one's for Jacquelyn from Peter.
So, Jacquelyn, how do you counsel brands seeking to activate full funnel advertising on platforms like Walmart Connect, and how do you see Flywheel and the broader Omnicom driving efficiency and success on behalf of the brands that you represent?
Good question. I think first I would say from the counseling standpoint, kind of going back to what you were mentioning, as far as there's the running joke that a new retail media network launches every single day, and I was just having this conversation at a retail media luncheon roundtable today where I was talking about I counsel clients all the time that sure there is a retail media network spinning up all the time, but the N in an RMN is really what matters. And not all retail media networks are created equal. If it's not actually connected on and off platform, physical to digital, third-party integrations where you can reach a consumer and create a full 360 experience for them all within sort of the confines of a broader ecosystem, a network it is not. And so you need to be channeling your dollars into those spaces and places where you can play in a lot of different avenues in order to deliver great experiences for consumers like Walmart. Don't tell some of my other friends, but over the years being in the CX planning and retail media space, working with clients to build out campaigns and plans at Walmart was always probably my favorite sandbox to play in because it is such a robust ecosystem with so many different levers and capabilities to turn on and off based on what it is you're trying to deliver. And so, I would like to see others in the space strive to do more like Walmart has done.
And so, Ryan, to that point, listening to Jacquelyn talk about consumer experiences, how does Walmart Connect actually partner with Omnicom to drive the best possible outcomes for the consumer, agencies like Omnicom?
We partner in a variety of ways. I mean, I think that just reflecting on some of my points earlier, we're really focused on education first. When a retail media business is sort of formed from scratch at Walmart, the supplier partnership there is so ever present and so strong. That's the natural place to start and building that relationship, understanding the brand's goals, building media strategies for them. It's later when I think the budget sources that are normally aligned to the agency of record start to fund the retail media investment. That's when the agencies tend to get more involved in direct oversight over the relationship. And that's when we start investing, where we've built out a big team, reflecting on some of the online training components, APIs, just everything that we've externalized for agencies to take advantage of. We leverage all of that in order to help Omnicom make the best possible recommendations to their clients to activate and win on Walmart Connect. So it's, I think, very early days. We're just scratching the surface in what we can accomplish here. But we're excited about what the future holds. And I think the growth of things like CTVs, the growth of things like social, the DSP, I mean, these are already areas of expertise, deep areas of expertise at Omnicom. And I think they'll have a lot to add as budget allocations for our brands in those areas grow over time.
So, Jacquelyn, how do you see Omnicom ultimately creating exceptional cross-channel experiences that convert as a repeatable pathway to growth?
I would like to say we're doing it now, and I think now with the addition of Flywheel into the mix, I just see that exponentially, growing across multiple verticals. But CPG is obviously what gets me kind of the most excited. I think that there's beloved brands that have the opportunity to create really interesting experiences and really interesting brand building in retail. And I'm a firm believer that the future of brands and media is anchored in retail, and so it's where the consumer is. It's the new Google. It's the new brand.com, and that's where they are. And so as marketers, it's incumbent on us to take every advantage of that space to deliver the best experiences for them that are going to drive growth for brands. And if we can do that, us with Flywheel together, it is a repeatable pathway to growth for us and the brands.
And does that only apply to endemic advertisers, or is there a broader opportunity for great marketplaces like Walmart?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the non-endemic space is a really interesting avenue that's opening up now. I think it remains to be seen whether or not those connection points are going to drive exponential growth for brands outside of those environments. But within the retail marketplace, it's so rooted in CPG. And, as we talked about, no one's going to brand.com to learn about, a product like that. And so it's the richest territory to play in. And you also have the wealth of some of the most amazing beloved brands in the world that you get to exploit in those situations across these amazing retail channels. So while it's the non-endemic aspect is an interesting new development in the space, and I'm very eager to sort of lean into that and see where it goes. To me, it's not the most immediate pathway to growth, as you would say.
Okay.
Jacquelyn, another pet peeve of mine has been exactly what you say, right? Which I deeply believe the world we live in, the omnichannel consumer, the pathway to actually grow brand equity now squarely sits in retail. And I wish we could tell this message louder to brands, right? It's great to hear a CEO of a agency actually say that. And that brand.com is it's not irrelevant, but it's so yesterday. And so, Ryan, let's have that very last question out here for you. I'm a deep believer that Walmart Connect, it should be squarely in the middle of brand equity development. What do you guys think about that? And then what story or message would you leave with brands? So traditionally, RMNs have grown through selling ecosystems or like chief customer officers and the Walmart team locally at Bentonville, really trying to move lower funnel activation. But here we are, Jacquelyn and I agreed that it's very much about household acquisition as well. So what message would you give from a Walmart Connect perspective to the brand ecosystem that if they were to continue to develop equity and hold it steady, that Walmart Connect would be a critical component of that?
Well, I think it comes down to some of what was implicit in your question there about measurement. You talk about household acquisition. Let's call that out explicitly. We can measure things like new to brand. We can tell you more about whether or not a customer came into your brand from a competitive brand, or whether they are entering the category for the first time. We've sort of had this idea over the last 20 years that the next generation of consumers will be all online all the time. And we now see at Walmart, customers see something on TikTok, they walk into the store, they want to buy it. A lot of this next generation of customers are new moms. They're in a life stage where they're entering categories for the first time. And we're able to quantify that customer acquisition and help brands understand whether or not they're retaining those customers over the long term, or whether they also have a leaky bucket problem. And if so, diagnose that, help them understand how they're losing customers, whether they're losing them to another brand, they're falling out of the category for some reason, they're trading down. We can quantify all of these things and then be able to offer the media tactics that solve these problems, that help you double down on customer acquisition, help you fend off competitors and retain your customers. And I think that before these measurement capabilities came about, before retailers got involved in the media industry, it was very hard to know these things and know these things with respect to any of your media investment. And so I think retailers, the largest retailers in the world who have created scale media businesses are going to be indispensable in helping brands understand things like customer acquisition and lifetime value and how their investments in media platforms are helping them build brand equity. So I'm very excited about what the future holds in terms of being able to answer these questions for brands.
I'm a firm believer there's no such thing as brand love without consumer dollars. If you just have equity, it is maybe awareness, but there's no love if a consumer isn't buying you. So this is why the space is so exciting.
Yeah, well said.
I think with that, we'll call it a conversation. I want to thank our guests in our guest house, Ryan Mayward and Jacquelyn Baker, for taking time to give us their thoughts around how retail media really is transforming brand loyalty. So thank you very much for joining us. The content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from CPG Guys LLC or the individual author, hosts, or guests, nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by CPG Guys LLC. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The views expressed by CPG Guys LLC do not represent the views of their employers or the entity they represent. CPG Guys LLC expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, or inability to use this podcast or the information we present in this podcast.